Hello gardening friends, welcome to Backyard Basics. I'm John Dromgoole. Vegetable growing is one of my favorite things, and asparagus is one of my favorite things too. But they're perennials. Unlike many of the other vegetables, asparagus are perennials. They'll be there for 10 years and 15 years, so you've got to put them in a spot that will not be shaded over that time. Also put them in a spot that won't conflict with the rest of the garden. So maybe out on the north side of the garden, perfect place for them. You know what's really critical? Soil preparation. You're only going to get one shot at it, and so you want to do it right in the beginning. You want a nice loose soil. A heavy clay won't work. If you have a heavy clay, go to the raised bed method. That's very important. So one of the other things about this is that the roots need to be spread out. You don't just stick them in the ground. When you buy them at the nursery, you'll find that somebody will have wrapped them, or maybe you do it yourself, in a moist piece of paper. You do not want to let the roots dry out. That's very important. If they dry out, you're kind of in trouble. So when you get home and you're working in the garden and you're getting ready, keep them moist. If you have to, wrap them back up until you get it into the garden. So you make the bed and you have these ridges going down the center. In a 4-foot wide bed, you'll do 2 of them. One of the other things to do when you're planting is to stagger them a little bit. That's very important. Over time, they will really fill in those spaces. And so staggering is critical to good spacing. Now, when you buy a bundle, this is one of the bundles that you'll find. Usually they're buried in sand. If there's any damage to the roots, go ahead and cut it off. Get them out of the way. So we open it up. Here we have several of them. Really nice. Look at how pretty these are. There's 5 right there. They come in bundles. They're economic. They're very inexpensive, and they will yield a lot of fruit for you. So a lot of spears for you, actually. And so people ask, well, how many do I need? Well, how many do you eat? Put as much in there as you can eat, and that's the perfect amount. Go ahead and be big about it. Plan a nice, large garden. One of the other things is to make sure those roots really aren't together. That's important. Don't dig a hole. You want to put on that little ridge that you made the roots and spread them out very nicely. Go all the way through doing that. Nice loose soil. Then you'll add some of these amendments like earthworm castings that really helps the root system to get off to a great start. So you'll add that bone meal to the soil. It's very important in the beginning. And then you add some good compost on top of that, top dress. Don't use a wood mulch. Just use some good compost out there. That's the best way, because in the long run, the compost is going to be the food you give it. So I think that that would be sufficient. A good compost, the one you make at home, that's the best one out there. You don't harvest these for 3 years. And at the 3rd year, you might harvest some that are at least the size of a pencil and larger. Nothing smaller than that. And then after a couple of weeks, you let it grow back out again. You don't want to stress them. So you don't cut them back for 3 years. In the wintertime, you'll see them freeze and turn brown. That's when you cut them off. Make a nice clean cut out there. It's very important. And then you'll have the access to the new spears in the springtime. That's important. You can use that in the compost pile. It doesn't make any difference. That's a good place to put it, as a matter of fact. So cutting back in the winter, very, very important. That's when you top dress with the compost. You have more access to the soil area. And another thing is, don't let those roots dry out. I want to say that over and over. But more important than that, read about it. Learn about asparagus. It's an important topic. It's a perennial food source, and I think you'll like it. For Backyard Basics, I'm John Dromgoole. I'll see you next time.